A museum applied for a grant to fix their heating and air conditioning system. DOGE ran the application through ChatGPT. ChatGPT flagged it as a DEI program. The grant got canceled, and now there's a federal lawsuit. Here's what happened. The High Point Museum in North Carolina applied for a federal grant, specifically to upgrade their HVAC system, or their heating and cooling. The application mentioned the phrase greater access to diverse audiences because museums talk that way about their public programming. DOGE, as part of its federal spending review, ran the grant application through ChatGPT to screen it for DEI content. ChatGPT saw the phrase diverse audiences and classified the grant as a DEI program. The grant was canceled and the museum is now suing. So here's the thing. ChatGPT is what's called a large language model. It works by identifying statistical patterns in text. It learns from billions of documents which words tend to appear together in which context, and it uses those patterns to make predictions about what a piece of text means. Now, here's the part that matters. ChatGPT did read the full application. It saw HVAC, it saw museum, it saw heating and cooling system, but the phrase greater access to diverse audiences carries so much statistical weight from DEI-related documents in its training data that it overrode everything else in the application. It's not that ChatGPT ignored the context. It's that it couldn't weigh context against intent. It couldn't ask, what is this application actually trying to do? And let that answer determine what that word means. That's not pattern matching failing. That's pattern matching working exactly as designed in a situation that required something pattern matching fundamentally cannot do. Policy judgment. And the result? A museum loses funding for an HVAC system because a statistical weight outranked a heating system. Now, the easy read is that ChatGPT made a mistake, but that's not what happened. ChatGPT didn't make a mistake. It did exactly what it was designed to do. The mistake was using it for a job that required judgment, and pattern matching is not judgment. Judgment means looking at greater access to diverse audiences and understanding that in the context of a museum's HVAC application, that phrase is describing who the building serves, not a diversity program. That requires reading context, weighing purpose, and understanding the difference between what words literally say and what they actually mean in a specific situation. Language models don't do that. They identify statistical relationships between words. That's a genuinely useful capability, just not for this. And here's the structural problem. When a human reviewer makes a wrong call on a grant application, you have one wrong call. When AI is deployed to screen across thousands of applications simultaneously, one miscalibrated pattern match scales instantly and looks systematic. Every application with the phrase diverse audiences gets the same result, regardless of what the application is actually for. The error becomes invisible because the output looks consistent and decisive. But consistent and decisive doesn't mean correct. And this isn't a new problem. Institutions have always used proxies as shortcuts for judgment. A keyword is a stand-in for what a program actually is. A credential is a stand-in for actual competence. A checklist is a stand-in for real evaluation. And that shortcut has been built into institutional review processes forever, and it has always produced errors. What AI does is take the same shortcut and run it at a scale no human review team ever could, while making each output look more rigorous and systematic than any individual reviewer. The proxy got faster, the errors got bigger, and now there's no one to argue with. The question that doesn't resolve is if AI is being used to make high-stakes decisions on grants, hiring, on loan applications, on benefits, and the people deploying it don't understand the difference between pattern matching and judgment, who's actually responsible for the outcome when the pattern is wrong?